1. Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, side opposition accuses us of a problem they don't even solve themselves. They have a vested interest to be able to control the monopoly. Oh, they want to make money. It's too slow. Oh, they can pull out and they can leave. All of these things, like what I mentioned in my point of information to the deputy, I don't really understand how those are going to get solved on their side. Because their case is that they're going to, from an insular perspective, make these frameworks themselves. And then at the same time, if they agree that these are monopolies, how are they going to be held compliant? It's like literally the meme of Obama giving Obama the medal. From the top of my speech, if you check your flow, I talked about how this is a conflict of interest of states who are negligent, states who are ignorant, and even states who have the capacity, something their side agrees with us with. I don't necessarily understand how that's solved on their side. There are a few mechanisms we explained, which are quite important to explain specifically how this global framework is going to work. We talked about the voting structure and mechanisms to be able to arrive at a particular decision because of the profit incentives of these corporations to want to be able to distribute to new markets. Because what you get from Brent and Matthew was a push on the idea of, at best, on side opposition, okay, you can all do it domestically, but the point in which you have to scale, you might not be compliant with the implementing rules and regulations of those other countries, which is something I preempted in the stop of my speech. The second thing is that these corporations, because they have an incentive to want to be able to distribute, are likely to be able to do these things well, meaning these different nation states, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're developed or developing, are going to have a proportional representation within that seat. But the pushback we got from them was like, they're gonna leave. Man, if these countries leave, then they literally lose out on the ability to be regulated. And then if their pushback on that is, they're not gonna follow it, these frameworks are not gonna mean anything, you fail to understand that this framework is just a starting point. Obviously, they have their own local and domestic countries to be able to run their governments, to be able to implement this, as what Brent and Matthew said, from the top down, as opposed to on their side, which is bottom up. And when you do it bottom up, that exactly is the point in which we're unable to see how this works, because you're unable to really have a multitude of these particular perspectives. What are some material that remains standing on our side that Matthew was able to position as responsive material compared to what they had mentioned? Brent and Matthew talked about how these particular powers are likely to be able to carry out these things. Whether it be US versus China, whether it be other nations trying to be able to compete and innovate. And this is also bolstered by the preemptive framing I gave you from the top of my speech. AI is a technology for all. Given how this proliferates, given how this affects the entire world, the importance of this is that we need to be able to understand, and this is something that their side agrees with, that these countries also want to be able to compete and redistribute these things to the rest of the world. They need to be able to do it under a regulatory framework and lens where it's going to work. So if side opposition wants to blast us on accessibility, wants to blast us on trying to get these things out, those aren't really in contention. We want that too. This debate is specifically about the lens of regulation, whether we're going to do it top-down from international or on their side, which I don't think they were able to fully prove, from the bottom-up in terms of how it works. And for all of these reasons, we are very proud to stand on side proposition.